It's so unprepared that even the live streaming wasn't working. It should be working now. So anyway, so with that in mind, I think it would be really cool to really, for me to get some input from the both of you, giving you some choices where you kind of tell me the direction you want me to go, and I can show you how I would think about it. I mean, I don't know. It's just an idea. I think it's worth the try, and hopefully it'll either be the worst presentation we've ever done, the demo, or the best. I don't think it's going to be in between for some reason. So, hey, you know what? You always have the option of deleting it and not posting it. And so it's only people who are watching it live to realize how much of losers we are. But anyway, having said that, I'm going to share my screen and let's get started. This is fun. We're in the kitchen, we have all these ingredients and we're like, what are we going to make? Right? So first, let's do it off. Should we do it off dev or should we do it off? Yeah, we could do it off dev. Okay. All right. Here I am. Development platform. Dev is going to be slow today because we're doing a bunch of stress testing. So also we have participants too. So if anybody who is on right now feels they want to tell us, hey, I would love to see this. If we can do it, we'll definitely dive into it too. So it's very interactive. Everybody participates. Yeah. I'm going to start with Dev. Okay, so let's create
the chat open. So feel free to send over any questions. We want you guys to be, even though you can't talk, chat us. You be engaged. It's fun.
Come on, Ken. You're always here. Let's hear what you got.
Who? Ken. Okay, cool. So here I am, blank canvas, APIANT. I have no idea what I'm going to do. What should we do? So I guess one of the things we could do is let's take a look at all the apps we have connected and see if we can think of anything. So there you go. I got a bunch of apps here. ActiveCampaign is always a good one. Also the other thing is that my Bluetooth stopped working, so I'm using this old school mouse.
Oh,
remember those?
Does it have a ball?
Yeah, with a little ball on top, and I'm very clunky with it. So the cursor flies like nobody's business. Nobody's business. So, all right. So what would you like to take a look at? Do you want to look at Zoom? Do you want to do something with Calendly, Campaign Clinical, Campaign Monitor? What are your thoughts? MailChimp? There's a lot of options. I feel like we've done MindBody, so.
Maybe it would be fun if we first came up with a scenario, like a profile of somebody and their business, and then from there built out, like maybe they need help with A, B, and C, and they're probably using like maybe somebody from the audience wants to tell us what their business is.
You always need a marketer when you have two geeks joining. You need the marketer to think, oh, why are you building what you build and how is that useful to people? So, yes.
How about maybe Asha's new to the party. Asha, do you want to tell us a little, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but do you want to chat us a little bit about what you're doing, and maybe we can start there. Hopefully they are actually paying attention. We like testing people on these calls.
Okay, I work with Revolution in Motion and have tons of issues with bleep, bleep, bleep. Okay, so I don't know Revolution in Motion. Oh, that's a company. Okay, sorry. So what kind of issues do you have with MindBody? So let's start with MindBody here. It looks like I'm gonna open.
I think I found their website. We'll just confirm if you want to open that. Fred, I sent it in the chat. Maybe. I mean, that's the first Revolution in Motion that came up.
Virtual classes. Okay, Asha party. Okay, so she's having issues with virtual classes. So here's someone who is using MindBody, and they're thinking, okay, do you have it sounds like she's looking, do you have a solution to do virtual classes?
Which we do.
Automated links never get to clients' inboxes. Okay. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. That's a good topic, right? That's a good topic.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so let's just talk about that, and then I'll show you how it works. How are we doing virtual classes with MindBody at APIANT? So let's just go to MindBody. I'm just going to Google MindBody and Zoom, and here is the page here, and I see that some of the issues Asha is having. The screens of all participants go haywire at times, and the automated links never get to clients' inboxes. So that's perfect. Let's just talk about that. So how is this keeping track of links going to clients, and how are we making sure that people are getting their links, right, and clicking on them? So this is our Zoom to MindBody. And one of the things that it does is when it comes to emailing here you can see best in class email deliverability. So not only do we do custom email, branding, and so forth, but one of the things that we do is we keep track to make sure that people are getting their email and then they're not ending up in spam. So Mark, which account could I open so we can see a report about that and just kind of see what's happening here?
Oh,
Why don't you put it in my chat?
Yeah.
So again, this is the beauty of improvisation here. So in the chat, just give me an account that I should go to take a look at, and I'm going to go to. Well, actually, we could do it on Dev though, right? Are we sending emails through Dev right now?
Dev is always running, so
Okay.
there should be content there.
Okay, cool. All right, so so let's go to what it looks like. So our MindBody to Zoom here. Let's go to what it looks like here. So I'll just go to Zoom Connect because that's what it's called. All right. I've been experiencing really slow responses with Zoom today. I don't know why that is when I share my screen. But anyway, so this automation here, and this is not on obviously, but it sends emails to client, right, when they need to get it. So this is what this automation does. So I'm just going to open it up. Now, again, it's kind of odd because most people who use Zoom Connect don't go here, but I'm going to show you how we ensure that people are getting their emails. That's my purpose here, to show you this. So here, when I open Zoom Connect, maybe I'm going to go to prod because I feel like this is going to be slow. All right, let's go to prod. Nope, it's fine. Okay, so Zoom Connect here. So this automation here, what this does is that it checks to make sure that the client is ready to get an email. It checks all the clients that are in MindBody that have registered for a class. So I'll just zoom in a little bit here. And what it does here is going to send the email right here. So this is a group that sends emails. It sends emails using, in our case, it uses SendGrid, which is owned by Twilio. But what we're doing differently than most people who are using SendGrid, I believe actually MindBody is using SendGrid to send their emails. But what we've done is we have reserved the IP, the Internet Protocol unique ID, right, that we use to send emails just to send emails for classes. Now, why is that important? Let me see if I can open SendGrid on the. Why is that important? It's because every single email we send for Zoom Connect, and I'll show you what an email looks like, but every single email we send from Zoom Connect is for someone who has registered for a class. We never use the same IP or the domain to send email marketing or even anything else. It's just for Zoom Connect. That means, and then hopefully if I can open it, I'll tell you what, Mark, on your computer, can you open our account to SendGrid and try to get to our deliverability and everything else? I'll let you do that offline. So that means, I don't know what it is, but I think we have, if I recall, we have 160 or 180, maybe even more, 200% open rate, which means for every email we send, they're open at least twice, if not more. It might be 300%. I haven't looked at it in a while. And we send hundreds of thousands of emails, every month. So the deliverability is really, really, really high because the email servers out there, or let's call them the email gods, what they typically look at is this IP sending a lot of emails? Are people opening them? And are people even interacting with those emails? And I don't know what it is exactly, but I think it's in the 100 and something % of our emails are also clicked. So it's not just open, but people are clicking the link. Okay. So that looks very, very favorably on us. And all of the servers out there that are communicating amongst themselves to know, is this spam or is this a real email, are saying that emails coming from our IP or from, no reply at APIANT.com are emails that people, the large 99.999% of people who receive those emails open them and click them, and therefore they are not sent to spam, and they are left in people's inbox. So that's the first part I wanted to say to answer this. Now let's look at what an email look like, and then I'll show you the tool that you can use to verify if those emails are open for each class. Okay, so let's see if I can find what an email looks like. So here, I don't know if we've done tests recently that we could look at. Again, I'm on the development platform. So number one, it's slower, and sometimes we haven't tested that particular feature in a while, but I should be able to tell pretty quickly here if we've sent emails with this right here, and I'm pretty sure we have. So let's just give it a second here. And then while this is opening, I'm going to get to a tool that reads HTML. So here I'm going to go to Dev Tool and HTML Reader. Let's see if we have some emails to look at. Okay, so this one here. There you go. All right. And did we send any emails here? Yeah, I think so. So here's what it looks like when you look at the history. Again, typically you as a mind-body business, you wouldn't be looking at this, but there's something that you would be looking at that I'll show you. But just to show you what the email looks like, gosh, it's slow. And I actually rebooted my machine since our last call, Pen, just to make sure that it wasn't my machine, but it's not. I think Zoom somehow today, more than ever, when you share your screen with Zoom, everything really crawls. So we'll just have to be patient, and then I'll just have to fill Simon's with nonsense.
And I sent you a link of the screenshot of the SendGrid dashboard. I think that's what you were looking for.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so no emails here. So let's. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a little technical here. One of the things you can do when you look for history, you can search by a bunch of stuff, right? So this is, I'm pausing my answer to Asha a little bit here, and I'm talking to workflow architects and developers, okay? This is why I love these things, because it's just so, it's like doing improv. I love improv. Have you ever done improv, Pen?
I took a drama class in high school, and it was really challenging, and you have to feel really comfortable with the people that you're with. I feel like so. And Fred, you're comfortable with everybody, so maybe that's why you're so good at.
I love improv. I love improv so much. Okay, so one of the things you can do when you look at history, you can actually identify an action in your diagram, right? Note the number, and you can actually search the history to see if any execution hit that action. So in this particular case here, this is going to be very useful because I want to know, did any execution actually send an email? And I know that the send email one here is gosh, this mouse, right? Send email right here. So you can right click on it and mark copy step number. You see that copy step number?
Yep.
Okay, pen, you see that? See, I can actually come here, right click, copy step number. It's going to copy 4T2, T15, whatever. Okay. And then I can go back to the history of that execution. So I can come back here and I can say, show me every time it executed and it passed through that step. Since I copied, hello?
I'm here.
Is this working? I feel like it's going to be hard on maybe it's Deb that's slow and something's happening here.
Yeah, I've never seen it this slow.
This is almost not workable. All right, paste. That's not the step number. All right, let's do it again. Every time you have to go back and you're like, ah, okay, so. All right, I can't deal. I'm not gonna do this. All right, we're gonna go
We got a
to,
question, Fred, if you want to
what's that?
just, we have a question.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just go to prod first. I can't deal with this. There's no way. I just can't do it. I'm not feeling an hour and a half of working at dial-up speeds. Okay, Mark, is there a test account in prod that I can use that you're sending emails with?
I'm gonna look here because Pascal that's his reign. So let me see if I can find one real quick.
You know how people do demos and they pre-record it and then
Yeah.
they tell you it's live, but the demo part is not live? I know why to do this now. Okay. All right. Let's go to, I'll tell you what, let's go to, can you give me a Zoom Connect 4.0? I'm gonna go off screen here. Account to go to.
Yeah, there's one I just sent you, which is live. It's not a test account
You sent it to me where?
in Zoom chat.
Can you not do that? Just send it. Send it. Yeah.
right.
I'm just trying to keep this anonymous. So, okay.
Well, I only sent it to you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I take that back. See, this thing is going to end up so badly. We're all going to
I gotta put it in the open.
Your fault. You did it. You screwed up. It's not me. And I'm going to quit, and it's going to be horrible. Or you're going to fire me. That's it. All right. So hopefully this worked better.
I have a 303 version, which is ours if you want that.
No, because I want the new.
Okay.
Oh, 303 does show intercom stuff, right? I mean, SendGrid stuff, right?
Yep, email delivery report.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an example. So I'm going to come back here. We're going to do this again. Hopefully it'll be a little faster. I really think it's Zoom. Or maybe it's my house. I don't know. I do have a suspicion. I'll test something else after this. I'm starting to wonder that maybe it's Brave, because I remember that this happened to me, and I switched browser and it worked. And I think maybe my Brave, the new version is slower or something, or okay. All right, so send emails to client. So let's go to the part where we send the email. And then here we want to, my mouse. And then here I want to copy the step, send email to client with join link, okay? And here I'm going to copy the step number. I hadn't seen that before. Okay, so this is the step number 7040. You don't have to worry about it. You just copy it. You just click OK and it copies it. And then here I can actually come here. So this is a little faster. That's nice. And I can paste the step number. Right. And then show me every execution that actually sent an email. That's how I know now that particular step was executed in this one. It didn't say, oh, no, there's no email to send. It did say there's an email to send. Now I can go to that step. Okay. I'll paste it again because apparently there were 2 executions here, and I want to make sure that's the step. So here it is. So now I have an example of being able to search an execution where it actually hit that step. I don't know if you guys understand the power. This is really, really cool when you have an automation that may run every 15 minutes, but once a month, it processes data in a specific way, right? Well, that's exactly what we did here. We were able to just fine tune, like go to just that one time when it executed and hit that step. That's really, really cool. So I'm going to go to the step because I know it sent an email. Now I'm going to answer the question to Asha, who's been incredibly, who's gone? Who's gone? Anyway, Asha, if you watch the recording, this is what I was trying to get to before, and I apologize it took me so long. But I'm going to copy this email here, this HTML, just to show you what the HTML looks like when we send the email. So I'm just going to copy this all the way down to here. Okay, and so basically, this is what this client is sending for an email, and now you want to know, is this email right? Have those people receive those emails? So this is just kind of showing you all the emails with their custom branding. So now you want to know, okay, who has received this email and not, and I'm not going to show it on this customer just because I don't want to show people's emails. But what I'm going to do is switch to, you have a 303 account that I can go
Actually,
to?
I was wrong. That was somebody who named their account APIANT. I thought it was one of ours, but no.
Okay. Well, I just showed a bunch of emails here, man. We're going to have to edit this recording. All right. So now I'm going to go back to dev and see if we can look at the email report, which Ken, I see you have a question. We're going to address this right after. Okay. So just give us a second. I just want to finish this right here. So I just come here on my account and I can choose email delivery report. So this report here will actually show you for each class. And then there, oh, I'm going back one day here. So let me just go back 7 days. See if we sent any. Nothing this 7 days. Okay. Well, that's the part about not being prepared, is that, you know, you just don't have data that you can actually show. But this would basically show you every email you've sent, who opened it and who didn't open it. So that's how you would know if people open or don't open. And then Mark, you sent me a screenshot of SendGrid, right?
Yeah.
Where?
It's in the Zoom chat. It's a SendGrid link or a cloud link.
Thank you. SendGrid info. Thank you. Oh, you're logged in as Fred. Okay, that's why I was confused. Okay, and so this is what SendGrid reports here to address your question, Asha, who's not here anymore, she left us. It's that we have a, in this time frame, sent 67,000 emails, delivered 99.48, open 203. So I was actually right. It's in the 200%. So 200% of our emails are open, which means each email is at least open twice. Clicked, I think that's because the time frame you chose is for classes that haven't occurred yet. That's why they're not clicked yet. Spam report 0.01%. On the left side of that screen, Mark, which is the part I wanted to show, which you're not showing here, but it has a reputation.
Yeah.
And then the reputation, I think, is 99.99% or whatever, something
That
like
is
that.
correct, which is over the last 30 days and is updated daily.
Right.
89% right now.
Right. And that's what you want to look at when you want to make sure that people's emails, people are getting their email in their inbox and that they are, in fact, opening those emails, or at least receiving these emails and also opening them. So that was that. Let's talk to our most loyal visitor, Ken. So Pen, what is Ken saying?
So Ken says it's regarding connections. You have many predefined connections, but if you have a client or vendor that has an open API, how can you create connection to them for your own custom automation or integration?
Is there a white paper for a document on how to do this that would be useful also? Okay. Great question. Okay, Ken. So let me just go here. I'll answer your question by going to our website here. So there are two parts of APIANT. There is cloud and there is dedicated, at least for now. Okay. So this is cloud here. Okay, APIANT cloud, and this is dedicated. APIANT cloud is basically APIANT.com. Okay, so APIANT.com is the platform that we sell subscription for our customers or our consultants to, and you're using cloud, right? To cloud. Yes. Yes, cloud, you're right. So APIANT cloud is where we have our customers, right? You cannot build assemblies in APIANT cloud because you need to have a developer account to build assemblies. So an assembly is basically, like you said, a new connection to an open API. You can do so in dedicated. Now, what is dedicated? Dedicated is basically APIANT in a box. It's white label. You have a developer account. Well, you can't have a developer account on cloud. So you would have a developer account on a dedicated platform. So yeah, just let us know. Oh, okay. And where is your dedicated platform with? It's really odd that you talk to people and they have to answer you typing. Oh, okay. Okay. So you are one of our dedicated users. Okay. So then let me reread your question with that in mind. Okay. All right. So you said, okay, my question is, you have many predefined connections, but if you have a client vendor that has an open API, can you create connections to them for your own custom automations? Yes. So the answer is absolutely yes, you can. And then your next question is, do we have a white paper for document on how to do this that would be useful also? And the answer is we have better than that. We have training for you to teach you how to do this. And let me just spend a little bit of time on that. So basically what you're talking about here, because you have your own dedicated platform with your employer, you're talking about, and I'll go to dev here, you're talking about the assembly editor. Okay, so this is where they are built. And I'll spend a little bit of time here. I'm not going to teach you how to build one, but I'm going to give you a few really good tips. So first of all, please reach out to your account manager at APIANT and let them know that you would like to have access to the training, because there's training that teaches you how to build those from scratch. Okay, so that's the first thing. But the other thing that I want to tell you is that many of us at APIANT, and that includes me, and again, I'm not a developer, are able to build brand new assemblies. Okay, so what is an assembly, first of all? So here, if I was going to look at, we were looking at, okay, well, whatever. If I was going to look at an app, right? So what were we looking at? We were looking at MindBody and Zoom. Okay, so if I were going to look at Zoom, for instance, so here's Zoom. Okay, so this is the assembly for the Zoom connection. Okay, so what does this assembly do? Because it's not an action and it's not a trigger and it's not a sub-assembly. So what does this assembly do? Basically, it allows you to connect to Zoom. That's all it does. So let me open that. And once this is open, I'll just kind of give you a little more context. Well, Dev is really slow. Maybe we should ask Robert to reboot it. Oh, but Robert is in surgery. Okay, so while this is opening, so these actions and these triggers, I'll tell you that a lot of them, right? I build my own, but I never build it from scratch. 100% of the time that I add a new action or a new trigger, it's based on another one, because you can take another one as a kind of a template, as a starting point, and then you can make a copy and then make some modifications, right? Now you do need the training, and the training is really going to help you. By the way, this is how you connect to Zoom. Okay, so this is what this one does. Okay, obviously you wouldn't be able to build this yourself without any thorough training. But these actions, for instance, so let's take a look at an action. So let's take a look at an action, for instance, delete meeting. Okay, look how simple it is. And especially when you're dealing with an open API, this will make a lot of sense to you. Look at this. It doesn't get much more straightforward than this. This is the delete meeting action. Okay, so if I went to, let me open it in the automation editor. Okay, so I'll just go to automation editor. If you're pretty good, if you were one of those kids who would take your toy and the first thing you would do is you take it apart, you were going to do really well with the assembly editor. Because I was that kid. I was the kid who's like, I would get a brand new, walkie-talkie. My parents were so excited, and the day after, it was a bunch of electronics on my desk, and we're like, "What did you do?" And I couldn't put it back together. But at least I learned how it was built, right? I learned. My parents would get so upset because every time they buy me something new, it was a bunch of electronics at the end of it. What, Pen? Are you saying that you're not surprised?
I'm not surprised, and that was totally not me at all.
Really? Okay, so let's continue here with you, Ken. So Ken, take a look at this. So if I wanted to open the delete meeting here, this is get meeting. I'll just add one here, and I'll just say, okay, Zoom. And then my brother would always play with the wrapping. Like, you could buy him the most incredible toys, and he would actually make a ball of the wrapping and play soccer with it for hours. Yeah, we were odd kids. But anyway, yeah, I love the box, not the toy, exactly. I wish Ken could actually talk with us. We need to change this. Okay, so I'm going to save this here. All right, so here, delete meeting is the action, right? All it does is it deletes a meeting. And for some reason, Dev is just so slow right now. What you would see on the bottom here when it's fully loaded, you'll see a field that says meeting ID, right? And then send email notification, yes or no. So the meeting ID is a text field, and then send email notification is a checkbox, a boolean. So here, oh my lord, this is, maybe I can open it in. Maybe I'll open it in. Yes. Let's go to our demo page. Let's go to our demo here again. Ah. Okay, so you'll see when I open any other one, but basically this action, these are action fields, right, that you put in the action, and you can add any, right? So right now I have meeting ID and send email notification, but here I could add another one, give it another data type, put some test data, right? And then this is going to be sent in this particular case to a subassembly, right? So this is just the XML going to the subassembly. So let me just close that, reopen this. Let's see if this comes up. It's not. Oh yeah, I said I wanted to switch to Chrome. Let me switch to Chrome. I think that's kind of like the source of my problems here. For some reason, my Brave, I think, if I recall, started really acting up and going really slow. Even though, oh, maybe that's why, because I'm blocking the cookies and it's just rechecking. Maybe that's it right here. Okay. Right. Okay. Let me switch. Nope. I'm not playing ball. All right. I'm going to open it on another screen and switch browser, praying that this is going to improve. Not really. Okay. All right. Well, that's great. You guys want to sing a song? Do you know a good song that we could?
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
This is not completely unusable. I mean, like, you know me, like I'm like, I like to talk and click fast, and this is like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm asked to run a marathon on my knees.
This is no bueno.
Oh, geez, Louise. All right, maybe this will be better. Okay, I'm gonna try. This is more responsive on the other browser. Hold on.
Maybe you need to apply more virtual RAM to your video.
What? What video?
Your video processor needs more virtual RAM.
Yeah. Have you seen the kind of machine I'm working on too? I mean, this is like, here, I'll show you. Oh, I think this is faster. Share, let me share my screen here. Now it's an older machine, but it is pretty super duper. This is one of those trash cans, Apple trash cans. They call it the trash can. It was the Apple.
Ken said to add a can of Watts to it. Is that like a drink, like Jolt Cola?
Right. I have 64 gigs of RAM on this machine, and it has 6 gigs of RAM on the graphics card, so it should perform. But anyway, okay. So let's try Chrome instead. So, okay, yes, I like where we're going here. Okay. Let me close this. Let me shut down Brave altogether. Not Brave anymore.
I can send you a DOS batch file that will, you know, fix it.
All right.
Oh, my dry humor is not going well today.
No, it's not. I can't process it right now. Sorry, man. This is like, almost feels like one of those nightmares. You know, you go on stage and you're supposed to be like an opera singer, and there's no sound coming out of your mouth. I've never had that dream. All right. So, all right. Okay. APIANT demo APIANT. All right. So if I lose Ken too, I'm going to be really depressed. I already lost Asha. Is he still with us? Yes. Patient man.
He is being very patient with us.
All right. Good. Okay. So what I was showing you, what I was trying to show you is I'll just open any automation and just add it. So I'm going to open this automation. Oh, I like it. And I'll just add that Zoom action in there. So it was called delete meeting. Okay. So I'll just add the delete meeting. Oh, yes. Look at us. We're back in business. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Let me just share that window so it's better. Okay. All right. So you can see it better. All right, good. So delete meeting, delete webinar, delete meeting. Okay. So I was showing you the assembly delete meeting, and what I wanted to show up is these two fields, which I was trying to show it. So let's go back to the assembly. Actually, I'll open the assembly on prod so we can go even faster. So I'm going to open the assembly here, and the reason I'm showing you this, Ken, is because I want you to know that even though you do need training and you do need, to know what you're doing, there's so much you can do if you're a good troubleshooter by using, common sense. So, and a perfect, because I started building a lot of assemblies myself, and I really don't have that deep API development training. So when you look at this here, this right here basically represents this, okay? And even Penn can understand this, and Penn doesn't want to get into the assemblies here. But Penn, take a look at this, right? We're looking at this action called delete meeting. You see that? When I open delete meeting, it gives me two fields. It needs a meeting ID, which makes sense. You're going to delete a meeting, right? So you need a meeting ID, and it needs a send email notification, yes or no. So here it says, if true, the host and alternative host are notified via email. These are the only two decisions you need to make. Now you can map that in there, or you can put a meeting ID if you know it, but you can map it from an action previous, right? So you know that. So how does that translate in the assembly editor, Ken? Well, take a look. You probably already know this, but look, the action has meeting ID, send email notification, Boolean, yes, required, yes, required, yes. Required, yes, required, yes. Now you know what you're looking at. Does it make sense, Ben?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You see these two right here? These two right here are here. So you've understood half of it so far, right? Which is whatever I add here is going to show up here, right? Now look, then what does it do with it? Well, then the XML is sent to a subassembly called delete meeting. So what am I going to do naturally? I'm going to open the subassembly. Okay, subassembly is getting information. All right. If you don't know how this works, you can always open the API documentation. There's a link right here to the delete meeting API documentation in Zoom. This explains to you how to do it. And here you can see that it's really not that hard. All you need to do is you need to give it a meeting ID and a query parameter. You need to know if you're going to send an email, a meeting reminder or not, right? So this is exactly what this does. The URL parameter here, take a look at this. Super straightforward. api.zoom.us/v2, right? And that is exactly what the, where's in the, here, right here. So slash, so that's the base, sorry. So that's the base of your URL parameter, okay? And then you feed it two paths, meetings, and then something that you've wired here, which is the meeting ID that you get from above. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, what you're sending to that URL, you're sending https api.zoom.us/v2/meeting/meeting ID /meeting/meeting ID, right? So that's all it does. It actually takes the meeting ID, it sends the meeting ID to that URL parameter, and then the rest. Okay, I understand. You may not understand how OAuth works, but it's using the account info from that connection, and here it deals with the errors. If you get an error, it's processing the error, and it will spit back an error if there is an error. Let's say it doesn't find the meeting ID. Okay, but you don't have to understand all of it. What I'm trying to show you here is that if you said, hey, I need a new endpoint called delete webinar, and I hadn't built it, I feel pretty confident that I could take this delete meeting right here, make a copy of it, right? So I could save it and make a copy of it, call it delete webinar, right? Go to the documentation, look for webinars, which is going to be webinar event, I think, or right, webinar deleted, or no, delete webinar. Webinar. Gosh, this mouse. Meetings. Okay, I can't find it right here, but I'd have to do a little bit of research. One of them is going to be a delete webinar. Maybe I'm looking at it now, but I'm not seeing it just because I'm online. But most likely it's going to be very similar. So let's take a look, because I know we did create one called delete webinar. Let's go to Zoom and see how similar they are. Because this is as simple, when it comes to a simple open API URL like this, it could be very simple to create an action. So here's the delete webinar. Let's take a look at it, see if it's similar. Even simpler. This one only has a webinar ID, right? And then it goes to a subassembly called delete webinar. Let's see how similar the subassembly delete webinar is to the delete meeting. Okay, so this is the delete webinar, and this is the delete meeting. So delete meeting looks like this. Delete webinar looks like that. You see similarities, Pen? Delete meeting, delete webinar. Delete meeting, delete webinar. Delete meeting, delete webinar. Delete meeting. You do see similarities?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the only difference here, right, is the path here is webinars, and this one here is meetings, right? Everything else is virtually identical. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be the case, right? But when so to answer your original question is, you've got a lot of open APIs that have been built and so forth. And it's a lot easier if you're adding an endpoint to an app that already has been onboarded, right? I get that. But all of these actions that are part of your catalog are a wealth of information for you to learn on your own, because you can kind of create your own version, test it, and it's just a matter of making a few modifications, putting on some new modules often. You can get pretty far on your own if you're not super experienced. Now, we have training, and we will send that to you to go a little further into it. But if you're good at process of elimination, you're going to be able to use an endpoint as a starting point and then make your own change. I've built countless actions and triggers myself by using another one as a base. I read the documentation, I see what it needs, what kind of parameters I can give it, and then you start getting really used to it. So I hope that answers your question. And see, I think he has 2 new masters. Thank you. This helps. Also knowing about the training and breaking down helps. Very helpful. Okay. Thank God I was able to answer a question to somebody today with a screen that is somewhat responsive. Anyway, I think you'll have a lot of fun, and it's a ton of fun to do, because you just feel very powerful because you're building these things. You're really kind of writing code visually, and it's not uncommon that I'll request a new endpoint with development. And we use Atlassian Jira, and I'll request a new endpoint like a delete webinar or a modify webinar or whatever. And it's not uncommon that our development is able to build it and test it and deliver it in literally 2.5 minutes. Because like I said, if it's already been built before, you're just looking at a different URL with a different parameter, make a copy, boom, deliver it. And before you know it, you've got yourself a brand new action. So it's exciting to me to develop that way. Okay. All right. Good. So what should we do next? So we've answered the question about emails. Pen, I really want you to challenge me here. Tell me what you, don't challenge me too much because I'm pretty fragile right now with this dev situation. But what would you like me to do? What else would you like me to do?
Well,
What do you like?
I always go back to like what customers do I work with and what do they need help with, right? And most of those right now are MindBody customers. I don't know if you want to stay on MindBody or are you wanting to switch it up?
Yeah, switch it up. Anything else? Let's do some HubSpot stuff.
Yeah,
Tell
I was
me-
going to say maybe HubSpot and Donor Perfect.
Okay.
We have somebody interested in that coming
Okay.
through.
All right. Let's do that. So let's do that. So first, let me make sure that I'm connected to the right accounts. So I'm gonna log in here, HubSpot development account, just to make sure. We're huge fans of HubSpot. I mean, huge fans. And we actually use HubSpot ourselves for sales process and CRM and marketing and so forth. So that's cool. But I want to make sure I don't connect to our live HubSpot because I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to log in our development HubSpot. So let me just do that here. So let's go to dev HubSpot right here. All right, Pen. So here's HubSpot. I'm going to use, you said Donor Perfect, right? I don't have one dedicated to Donor Perfect, but it's okay. I'll just use this one. All right, and I'm going to connect to Donor Perfect. So what is Donor Perfect, Pen?
So Donor Perfect is a software made specifically for nonprofits. And beyond that, I'll let you explain it, Fred. It helps nonprofits, collect, from what I understand, it helps nonprofits collect dues that people or charitable donations. That's the word I'm looking for. Donation.
Charitable donations, yeah.
Donor is in the name of the product. So hopefully we can remember that word in the future. Donations, and keep track of donors and how much they've donated. And it's a CRM for donors, right?
That's right. And so it's donations, but it's also pledges, right? So when you do, when you work with a nonprofit, often people pledge. So I pledge to donate $100 a month to Mark's free cannolis for everybody.org. Right? So that would be a pledge, right? And so the way Donor Perfect works is very much like, very much like a CRM, but it's incredibly flexible on one of the things they do really, really well is you're able to create a lot of data points, a ton of custom fields to keep track of different things, different categories for donors. So you have gifts here, you have pledges here, Pen, you have contacts, which is, every time you contact them or you do something with them, bio, other, which is completely, you could say, I do events. Let's say I do events every Friday and I want every donor to be logged every time they attend an event. Addresses, if they change their address and you want to have a history of the old addresses. So there's a ton of stuff you can do with it. And obviously, we all know what we all know what HubSpot does, and what HubSpot is really, really, really good at is to keep track of every communication, inbound and some outbound, and then automated marketing, right? So those two work really well. I mean, when they work together, they really complement each other, because this will keep track of who is donating, who is buying what type of stuff, and the actual transaction, right, of credit cards being charged for donations and so forth. And this is going to keep track of, how have we communicated with them, who has received our newsletter to people who donate to this project, or who has responded to a landing page with a form and is interested in donating or participating or volunteering and everything else. So here we are. We now have Donor Perfect and HubSpot. So now, Pen, that I have these two connected, and I believe they do, what would you like me to do? So I'm going to create an automation. What would you like to do in which direction?
I want to be able to track in HubSpot. I want to have a pipeline in HubSpot of donors that donated in the past. And maybe I want to create some sort of marketing automation to communicate with them.
Perfect. Okay. So what is the trigger going to be? The trigger is going to be, so let's not talk about the past now. I'll talk in the present and the future. Okay. We'll talk about the past later. But I'm going to go, trigger is what? That's pretty straightforward. Well, donation made, right? So new donation, right? Okay. So when somebody gave us a new donation, I'm going to fetch the data fields. Now, fetch the data fields is getting all the custom fields that come with that donor. Okay. So when I was showing you earlier, you can have all kinds of custom fields that you've created that keep track of different things. Well, all of those, just by doing fetch data fields, expose all of those fields to your custom implementation of Donor Perfect. All right. And then you said you want to be able to track donations. So most likely you're going to want to create a deal in HubSpot, right? Because you want the deal to move to different stages and so forth, right? For those donations. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make it as simple first as possible, and then we'll enhance it later. So what do you think I'm going to pick here? So she's like, I thought I was okay coming up with the idea. I'm not too okay with coming up with the solution. So I'll help you here. So HubSpot.
Yeah.
Create deal, right?
I would have guessed that.
And then what? Create what?
And then create a deal.
Right. So add or update deal, or I would recommend just create a deal. So add a deal instead of update, because we're not updating a deal. We want a unique deal per donation in this particular case.
Wouldn't we want to, when would we create the contact and the company?
I like how you're thinking. That's why I purposely made it super simple so you could realize you're missing something, but you're ahead of me now. So here I'm going to say create a deal. And one of the things it's going to ask me is that who is the deal for? Contact email. Well, I don't have a contact email yet. So let me just save that. Keep it there. So first, before I create a deal, I need to deal with the contact, right? So one of the things you could do here is maybe search to see if the contact already exists, or if you feel confident that those emails are one-to-one relationship, you could just say add or update contact. So if the contact doesn't exist, it'll create it. And if the contact exists, it'll just update it, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here I'm just going to go add or update contact. You see that? All right, now I need you to tell me what to do next.
So add or update. So we want to add the contact, right? Assuming that contact's not in HubSpot yet.
Right. So this
Then
is an
we-
add or update contact.
Okay.
Right. So let's read this. Can you read this part here?
Adds or updates the contact. If a company name is found, the contact is associated with the company. The ID of the added updated contact is emailed as output or emitted as output. Sorry.
Right. So let's see if we have any fields that are required. So what's required here? Do you see it?
Email.
Right.
Required.
So where am I getting the email from?
The email from Donor Perfect.
Thank you. So I'm going to come right here, new donation. Let's see if we have an email with that donation. No email. I don't have an email with that donation.
Oh no.
So I'm going to save that. So how am I getting an email from that donation? What do you think? I just have to go back to Donor Perfect, right?
Yes. Yeah, because there's contacts in Donor Perfect as well. Would we, if it's not on the donation,
There's a donor,
yeah.
a donor. So I'm going to add app. And in your opinion, what am I going to look for?
We're going to look for donor. Yeah, by donor ID.
Okay.
Perfect.
Where am I going to get the donor ID from?
From the donation.
Ooh, somebody's picking it up. Somebody's getting it. Mark, are you ignoring us?
No, I'm just loving that Pen is on the quiz show.
Yeah, Mark's just
Alright,
happy to
so
be in
You
the
saw,
practice.
look at this. I got the donor ID from the trigger, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. We know we have a donor ID because we got a donation. You can't get a donation without a donor. So now I have a donation and I'm getting the donor ID. So I'm getting the donor by donor ID. So now I should have an email emitted from this,
Mhm.
right? So let's go back to this one. And so how am I going to get that email now, in your opinion?
So you pulled the donor ID. And so now we know the donor. And so we want to go back to the donor and get the email from there in Donor Perfect.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
She's hired.
And then also I may as well put a couple more information. We'll just put a first name. So where am I going to get the first name from?
Would that be in the donation? Or would we get that from the donor ID
Yep.
too?
And then a last name. Last name, same place?
Yes.
Okay.
How about a phone number? Do we want to do that too?
Yeah, I think I chose the wrong endpoint. I think this one is old. Let me see. I think I have the new get donor is better. So let me just do this one. All right, so watch this. So this is an old one, I think. I have a better one. The get donor gets more information. So watch this. You watching me? All right,
Yes.
watch this. So donor perfect. Get donor. And let's read the top here. It just needs the donor ID. See that?
Near the top? Yes, donor ID required.
Okay. So where do I get the donor ID? Well, we already kind of figured that out, didn't we?
Yes,
Where was it coming from?
from the donor or from the donation.
Okay. I have this ultimate fear that if I quiz you guys too much and put you on the spot too much, you're not going to want to participate in these things anymore.
Well, I'll just start going, oh, I think I'm losing you.
Okay. So I'm going to use this one. And the reason I want to use this one, Pen, is because if you look at it, it's newer and it emits a lot more stuff. See, the other one only emitted the first name, last name and stuff, but this one emits a ton of more stuff. So I mean, I've replaced it with this one. This one, I replaced it with this one. But I've already mapped the first name and last name and everything else in there.
Mm-hmm.
from here to here. So watch what I'm doing, because I want to get rid of this. Okay, because this is the one I want to use now.
Right.
Does it make sense? I want to get rid of this because this was an older version and it only emitted a couple things.
Yeah.
So before I get rid of it, whenever you get rid of something in an action, one of the things you can see is before I get rid of it, I want to find out what is it mapped to? Which actions below are using stuff from it?
Mm-hmm.
So if I say this, one item is mapped to action number 1. So now I can double click in there, right? Or open it up, and it's going to highlight in yellow what it's using. See that? It's using the email, the first name, and the last name. So all I have to do now is replace those with the new action, and then I can delete them. So here I'm going to come here. I'm going to type email. I'm going to take it not from this one, but from this one, the new one, right? Action 2.
Okay, and you know that's the new one because it has more more options for you.
And also because it's action 2.
Okay.
The other one was action 1, right? I could pick it from the next one. I'll pick it from the diagram. Okay. So I'm going to not pick it from this one because I know this is the one I only had 3 fields, but I want to do the first name from this one here. So here I'm going to type first. And then I delete the old field, right? And then this one, I'll just type last.
Action 2. Yeah, perfect.
Last name. Okay. So now when I close this, watch what happens on top. 0 items are mapped to number 1 because I've replaced all the mappings that were mapped from here to here. I made them from here to here. So this now tells me 0 items are mapped to action 1. So now I can remove this action with no harm because I know nothing is counted. No other actions are depending on what it's emitting.
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
So before you delete something, always check and see what is what's relying on it.
Right, right. And when you delete it, even if you don't check, it'll tell you. Are you sure? Because, you know, like if I try to remove this, it'll tell me this item is currently used to match up data in one or more actions. Do you want to remove this item's map data field? It says, do you want to get rid of those relationships? So in this case, I'm going to say, no, I don't. I didn't realize that, right?
Well, cool proof.
Right. When I remove the other one, it didn't tell me that, right?
Right.
Okay, let's keep on going. So we're going to add our update contact. So now we've done this. Now this is going to emit a contact, right? So if it found a contact with the same email, it's going to emit the contact ID. And if it's created one, it's going to emit the contact ID. So now when I add a deal, I can put the contact email. Hold on. Let me open this. Save it. All right, so now when I add a deal, right here, creates a deal and optionally associate it with a contact or a company. Contact email. This particular action requires a contact email to associate it. So we can grab the email from the donor because we know we have it. Okay. So I'm just going to put that here. Okay. All right. So now I created a deal and I associated with the contact because it's the same email, right? Mm-hmm. Now what am I going to put in the deal? Well, what do you want to put in the deal?
Maybe how much they donated or how much they're donating. You said we're working future.
Okay. So amount.
Yeah.
That's the deal amount, right? So here it says amount.
Mm-hmm.
Total amount of the deal. Where am I going to get that from?
From the donation.
Okay. Anything else?
When they donated.
Aha. Now you're getting fancy on me. That's awesome. All right. So I really want you to pay attention here, like really closely, okay?
Okay.
So now you want a date, right? Donation date. So I'm going to do a search for date. Close date, create date, last payment date, trial, end date, trial. There's no such thing as donation date. We didn't create that in HubSpot, right? So let's go create it in HubSpot. So I'm going to go here in HubSpot. I'm going to create a field in the deal. Remember, this is in the deal. So I'm going to go to the deal. I'm going to go to deal properties. I'm going to create a property. Okay.
And so is this something if I was actually a customer and we were going through this, would you be doing all this in HubSpot or would you ask that this be done beforehand?
Usually I ask them, I do it for them.
Okay.
They give me access to their HubSpot and I do all that for them. A lot of our integrations, we already know what fields are necessary. So we push a button and it creates them all at once.
Got it.
But here you just told me about it, so I didn't get a chance to create an automation that creates the properties. Okay, so deal. The group, there's no group called Donor Perfect. I mean, you don't have to, you could, but I'll just keep. So what do you want to call this? Donation date?
Donation date. Perfect.
All right. Oh my Lord. Okay, so donation date. And here in the description, I'm going to call this date of donation. And here I'm going to say, just for fun, requested by Penelope. Don't bother me. She asked for it. Okay. All right. Select group. I'll just say APIANT, whatever. Next. Now, very important here. What field type are we going to want here?
Ooh, there's a date one, right? Date picker.
Yep. Okay, so you've created a field in HubSpot called donation date. Let's go back to our automation. I don't see it here. Let me go back here. Mark, I don't see that donation date that she just had me create in HubSpot. Help her find that date. We just created a field in HubSpot and it's called donation date. I don't see it.
Change the view. The view properties, is that what you're talking about?
What?
In HubSpot?
No, I'm in APIANT right now.
I know, I thought you asked me to tell her how to find it in HubSpot.
Yeah, we just created a property called donation date.
Oh, you need to refresh the fields.
Thank you, Mark. I think he was making cannolis. He wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I was getting orders ready.
That sounded so wrong when I didn't mean it the way it sounded at all. Jeez. Sometime. All right, so now I can do donation date. So what I had to click on was refresh field, okay? So I say refresh field, and it's gonna pull up the latest. And guess what? Donation date is not there. Okay, so why do we think that is? Mark, I did a refresh field, but donation date's not there.
It's not in the field method. So is it one of those things where you need to save the automation? For the refresh?
Nope, that's not it. So perfect.
Oh, it's not. That's not a field that's coming from donor perfect.
Nope. Remember from the beginning what we were doing and how we did it. So I'm going to put this in demo. I think we had a demo here. What do we call this? I'll put it on top. Okay. Nope, that's not it. We made an assumption at some point when we started this demo. What was the assumption? Why wouldn't it pull the field that I just created in her HubSpot account? All right, I'll give you a hint.
We're connected to the wrong account.
Right. I never checked. I logged in this account and I have a bunch of test HubSpot account.
Yeah,
I'm not positive that I'm actually connected to that one,
right. Okay.
right? So
Right.
let me retry that. So let me share my whole screen. Stop share, share. And you know, I actually like doing this because it's, you know, you never know. I mean, somebody may be looking at this and it's like, oh, I had the same issue and I had no idea why, right? Well, maybe you have a bunch of HubSpot accounts and you connected to the wrong account. So you created a field in HubSpot, but APIANT doesn't know it's looking in a different account, right? So now I'm reconnecting using I know I chose mind body testing because see, I had all these other accounts. It's very possible that that account was connected to my clinical testing account, right?
Right.
So I'm going to say, okay. Yeah. Connect app. Okay. So let's go back. Pen. Sort by IDs. That's the one we just created here is going to be on top right here. Sorry. Sort by ID for this one. Okay. So process donation from donor perfect. So now what do I do to get that field, Mark?
You're gonna go do what we did before to refresh the fields.
So how do I do that?
I don't know which action it was, so please open the action that
You're not paying attention. That's why.
I know I'm helping other people with problems.
It's just mean calling him out.
All right. Refresh. So what was it called again? Donation?
Date.
Aha. Look at what we got here. All right, Mark. Now I'm going to quiz you. I'm flipping to you because
Yeah, you want me
because
to
I really tested Pen. How do I put the donation date in there?
you can map to it from the action number. Let's see, we're on HubSpot, so we want to map to the donor perfect action 1.
Get donor.
Get donor, yes.
This is a donation.
So maybe the donation date's coming through on the trigger. So then go to the trigger.
Yes.
You can search here.
Okay.
And it'll show you all the fields for the different actions and triggers. Since we're going to pull from the trigger, we need the donor date. Is that maybe created date?
Yeah, create date would work.
Is there a donor date? No?
Yeah, that's fine. Create
Okay.
date. Okay. Now, we think we're good because Penn wants a donation date. But are we good?
I feel like we're not, and don't ask me why, but just because you said that, I feel like we're not.
I love how you just said what you just said. That's really cool. Yes. So donor perfect. We can't just make an assumption that donor perfect speaks the same language as HubSpot when it comes to date formats.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, and I'll tell you this just because I know, but donor perfect is using a format of dates, and HubSpot is using another format of dates. So that date needs to be transformed before it gets mapped.
But like, you know that, right? Because of trial and error, right? Like, because you've done it before, you
Right.
know there's going to be a,
Right.
right? Somebody else would have to go through all that. Oh, look, why isn't it working? Because the date's not.
Right.
Correct.
So we could do it. We could find out the error first. So let's do that. You're absolutely right. So here, mapped, donation.
Or can we put that in the help field when we add a field?
Well, no, because it's already in there in the date. It tells you which format it wants, but people are going to map without paying attention. So, but let's do it. Let's do a donation and let's see it fail and let's see what kind of error we get so we can go ahead and fix it. Right.
Yeah.
So I thought you knew because I thought you had worked with Donor Perfect, but I suppose you haven't.
I haven't done
worked with it.
any
Yeah,
other
yeah.
than when
That
I
was
watched
Pascal.
it.
Pascal works with it a lot, so I'm sorry. I should have.
And I don't even know, like, will it give us an error or will it just be like the wrong format?
No, it'll give us an error.
Okay.
So, all right, Pen, let's give it a donation. So I'm going to create a donation. So first we're going to run it once here. let's go back to sharing just that screen. And we're almost done here. I actually have to meet an old friend for a beer, so I'm gonna have to go soon.
Nice. Happy
So
Friday to you.
what's that?
Happy Friday to you.
Yes, yes, it is 2:26. It's already happy hour as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
So where was I? Okay, so we're gonna come here. All right, let's create a donation. So Bill Gates, yeah, Bill Gates. I think we've used Bill Gates. He gives donations. So I'm gonna create a donation, and this is gonna be a donation to Mark's cannoli for everyone.org. Sorry. So
Better be careful. It's just getting really close to false advertising because some
Yeah,
people might be going to that website now.
cannolis are hard. All right. So,
look, he gives a lot of money. His last gift was $1 million.
oh, hey, I had somebody else doing that for me then.
Oh God, that's awesome. All right, so let's create a gift. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna say add a gift, and the gift amount. This time he had a really good year. It's the beginning of the year. There you go. Whatever it is, $10 million. $10 million fair market value. Okay, and I'm gonna give a little memo. Great. How do you spell cannolis?
CA. Yeah.
Cannoli. CAN. I don't think there's an E, but it's okay.
Even in the plural? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, cannolis. 2 N's, right? Yeah, 2 N's. Okay. Okay. And then we're gonna put a insert date. This is insert date in the memo, but that's not the gift date. I think the gift date is automatic, so it'll do it. So okay, so we enter. Oh, I keep on doing that. Okay, so I finished the donation, save. So here's the gift. Now, all right, smart action. What do they want? This donor has just given 500 more, flagged as VIP. Yes, that's smart. Flag him as a VIP. So I'm gonna process this, and let's see the error we get when we try to add this to HubSpot. So it found it. See, it found it. And then error. Boom. And let's take a look at what error we get. So everything else works. I'm going to click on this here. So we got a donation, right? Donation came through. Is all that we expected. Right here, $10 million. We found the donor, right? Donor was Bill Gates. Okay. I don't think you see him here, but yeah, he is in there. Yeah. Okay. Then we added or updated the donor in HubSpot, right? Because we want to associate the deal with the HubSpot person. Bill Gates is donor ID, a contact ID 64701. And then we got an error here. And the error says invalid donation date, right? Not valid. Now, what I know is that HubSpot, and you can see this from their documentation, they use what we call epoch seconds, which is the Unix time. Starts in 1970, 70 or 1971? 1970, when Unix was created. Day 1 is 1. I'm sorry, second 1 is 1. Second 2 is 2. Second 3 is 3. And it continues in the future. So every second in history has a particular number. That's called epoch second. That's Unix time. And anything before 1970 is a minus. So -1, -2, -3. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to convert the date we got here. We need to convert 1/28, 2022 to epoch seconds, and then give HubSpot epoch seconds. Okay, so let's do that real quick. So Mark, how do I do that?
I believe that's when you So it's above the deal. No, well, it could be above anywhere above HubSpot. So you could put it above the first HubSpot action, and it's a system convert transform data, yeah, and transform date and time, or date time. Modify, reformat date time. So the value is going to be from the trigger. So the date field you can search for, and the created date is what we are using. So I looks like epoch is the first. Oh, we have several. We have multiple options here. Epoch is that like milliseconds?
Oh, sorry, I said epoch seconds, but HubSpot uses epoch milliseconds. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to put epoch milliseconds midnight, and there's a reason I put midnight.
Is that like a 24-hour versus 12-hour or something?
No, it's because when you create a date field in HubSpot manually, it's always just a date field. When you create a date field through the API, you can choose if it's a date field or a date and time field. If it's date and time, you can just put epoch millis, right? But if it's just a date field, it still takes epoch milliseconds, but it needs to be at midnight because it cannot be any time other than that time.
Right.
Okay, so that'll do it. Okay, so I've created that. I'm going to rename that, just to always rename your actions for them to make sense. So Pen, what would I rename this action to?
Update or
Convert.
yeah, convert date format.
So always start with the app. Convert.
Donor perfect date format.
Perfect date format to.
Oh, well, remind me what it was called.
Spot.
Oh, just kidding. I thought you meant like the fancy term for the.
No, sorry. I'm saying, what is this action doing, right? It's converting the donor perfect date format to HubSpot.
Okay, easy.
Okay. All right. And then we're going back to add deals. We're going to click show all map fields. And we're going to replace this, right? So Pen, you're taking over now. He's fixed it for you. You called IT. He created this conversion for you and says, okay, you got a date format now. Go ahead and finish your automation. So what do I do now?
Okay, so we got the date format.
So you're gonna want to remove this one because this one was wrong. It wasn't working, right?
That's right. Okay. Okay, so we want to add the new date format. There, you push that one. The action 2. Yes. Yes.
Okay, you did it.
I was like, ooh, Mr. Cotter, I know the answer.
Okay, so I'm gonna click. So we're finished. We're finishing up here. I'm late for my beers, but we're finishing up here. So I'm gonna save this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what am I gonna tell it? What did we do different?
We added a new action to convert date. So yeah.
Okay. Now here's the beauty about this. The beauty is that you had an error, right? Mm-hmm. You had an error, right here.
Yep.
And you fixed the automation. Right. So you added a date conversion. Well, guess what? Because you didn't change the trigger, you only change after this, you can actually retry it. It's going to retry that same transaction now, and it's going to go through that date conversion, and then it's going to try it. So that's the beauty of this, being able to retry something even after you've modified or you fixed the automation.
You don't have to trigger it again.
Yeah, you don't have to trigger it again because it's in the system. It's waiting for you to retry. So I'm going to retry now. When you retry, you say reuse stored data because you're not going to go fetch it again. You already have it in your data, right? And then here, when you retry, you can say, do you want to start from the first action or do you want to retry from the failed action? Which one do you think we should choose, Pen?
From a failed.
Well, if you retry from the failed action, you're going lower and you're skipping the conversion.
Oh,
right? Because it failed at the time it tried to add the deal. So you want to go through the whole thing again and then convert it and then add the deal. So
maybe that
it
would have
was-
made more sense to go into the error. Then you could see that if you retried it from the same action visually,
you can do
don't-
that.
Yeah.
You can actually go to the action and say retry from here. You can actually do that, but I'm not doing that here. So sorry, Pen, it was A or B and you chose the wrong one. But
That's
anyway,
okay.
so
I
we
knew I had a 50% chance.
But hey, as long as it makes sense, as long as it makes sense to you, you know why we're starting from the top, right? Because
Yes.
you're saying retry from the top so you can convert it and add it, not retry from when you failed adding it, right? So now we try from the top and it's succeeding. So here it is. And now you can see that this time it got the donor, right? Right here. It converted the date. So on the left, you can see the date it got and the date it produced. Right? It converted 1/28/2022 to this number, which is midnight for that date in epoch milliseconds. Does it make sense? And then when you added the deal, you actually didn't add the 1/02/2022. You added that serial, this number, which is the epoch milliseconds. So now when you go back to HubSpot, I just got an idea for the future. When we get back to HubSpot, and I'm going to go to deals, and I'm going to look at this donation. I'm going to go to all pipelines because I didn't put it in a specific pipeline. Now we could have added it into a pipeline with a different stage and everything else. But
So it'd be that one with no deal name.
well, yeah, because we didn't give it a deal name. We didn't do any of that. We just give it a value and we just put it right. So here it is. Here's your deal. Now you would want to give it a deal name and everything else, but view all properties. Bill Gates, you see Bill Gates, that's the deal. You saw Bill Gates on the top right? Here it is. So you've got right here, APIANT. Donation date 1/28/2022. Right?
Nice.
So that's all you added. You added a deal. Now it has no deal name. Also, the other thing we're discovering here is that we didn't map the amount for some reason. I think I must have missed that at some point. I think I mapped it and then I didn't save or something. So there's no amount. So all it did is that it said Billy Bob at apiant.com and then the date, but you could map the amount and everything else. But your deal definitely shows up here. So you're on your way to success. So you know what? I just had an idea before I let you guys go. I thought what would be cool is, you know how I quiz you guys? We don't have to do this every time. What if we ask for volunteers? What if we went to our customer base and say, hey, we do this Friday demo thing. We need volunteers who want to go through training so Frederick can train them. So I could do with them exactly what I do with you. We may lose some customers because they get offended, but I think a lot of them will actually learn. People who want to learn, they will do it, right?
Yeah.
No,
No, I think
Ken may be one of those people. So yeah, let's try to do this. I think it would be cool to actually do a live training with someone, so somebody can see someone just kind of like learning as we go, you know?
Yeah, I love that idea.
Sweet. And they can make cannolis.
Right. That was pretty risky, but we did it. And I think it was okay. And Pen, thank you for your patience. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That was fun.
All right, guys. Happy weekend.
Have
All
a great
right.
week. Have fun having beers with your friend.
All right. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.